Hello and welcome. This is Kendra and I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm sharing the card making process for the 15 cards that I made in the Kendra's Card Challenge 11 introduction video that I shared on July 1st. In case you're not familiar with my quarterly card challenges, I provide a free PDF download that contains cutting guides for 6 sheets of pattern paper, along with 15 sketches and instructions on how to make a bunch of cards. You'll want to pick out 6 coordinating pattern papers and assign them to each of the color-coded papers. Then you'll cut the papers according to the cutting templates and sort the pieces for each of the 15 card sketches. You'll also need some matching colored cardstock for the layers and card bases, and then you can decorate the cards with whatever stamps, dies, ephemera, or embellishments you'd like following the sketches. If you're new to my channel or if you missed my Challenge 11 introduction video, I will have it linked below in the description box. By sharing your creations, you can have a chance to win lots of crafty goodies throughout the quarter. This challenge runs from July 1st to September 30th of 2023. And for this quarter, there are 20 company prize sponsors with over $1,000 worth of prizes that will be given away throughout this challenge. Before we get started, I hope you'll take a moment to subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. To create my cards, I'm using all of the products that you see here. For the pattern paper, I used the Pink and Main Cool Basics paper pad. This paper pad is actually part of the All Occasion Crafty Courtyard kit, so I'll be using some of the contents in my cards along with some other products. Now, this card here shows all of the contents of the kit. As of the date of this video, this All Occasion Crafty Courtyard kit is still available for purchase under the Past Boxes and Extras section of the Pink and Main website. I'll have this linked in the description box below in case you're interested. But this is the stamp set that came in the kit, and it's just like the name. There are sentiments for all different occasions. And for my cards, I'll only be using a few of these, but as you can see, this is a great stamp set to have in your stash because it pretty much covers what you would need to make cards for. And this kit also includes this die set here that has 2 different size fishtail banner dies that will cut out the sentiments plus the layering leaf die set. And I also used the embossing folder from the kit, and this is called Cobblestone. And here are the embellishments to match. The sequin mix, and then there's also some glitter enamel dots. For my stamping, I'm using the Pink and Main Lakeside ink, which is like a teal color, and also Barbershop, which is like a navy blue. And then I'm also using this lime green ink called Lime Ricky from Catherine Pooler, and this Sunbeam ink from Simon Says Stamp. These match the colors in the paper pad really well. I'll also be using these 2 stamp sets from Lawn Fawn. One is called Magic Messages and the other is called Magic Spring Messages. And I love that these both work great with circle shapes. Both Lawn Fawn and Pink and Main are prize sponsors for this challenge. And I'm also using the stamp set from Pink and Main called Spotlight Sayings. This is probably my most used stamp set in my entire collection. I just love the sentiments on here and the different fonts. And then I'm also using a few word and shadow dies from this Pink and Main Simple Greetings die set. These make great focal points, and I love that you can layer these up. So I'll be using just a few of these on my cards, but you can see that there's also hearts, different size hearts here. And here are a few of the other dies I'll be using. I'm not sure what company these are from, but this is a stitched banner die and also a stitched star die. For sketch 1 that calls for tags, I'm using the wonky stitched tag die plus a smaller tag die from this set here from Momenta. I'm sorry about the glare. I'll also be using a few embossing folders on some of the panels. Many of the card sketches call for panels that aren't pattern paper, so you can add a little bit of extra flair by using textured paper or using embossing folders just to give it more interest. But I'll also be using this yellow and white twine from this pack that I bought at Hobby Lobby on clearance. I think I used the teal and white twine also. So let's get started. Now I've sped this video up 6 times since I'm sharing all 15 cards. I don't want it to be too long, but if it's too fast, you can change the settings on YouTube to make it go a little bit slower. But I'm also placing the card sketch up on the corner of the screen for each of the cards. Now I used matching colored cardstock that came in the kit for most of my layers. I went ahead and cut out the double tags and I stamped congratulations 3 times on top of the smaller white tag, one in yellow, one in green, and one in navy. And now I'm taking the twine and making a double bow to attach the 2 tags together. And then I'm gluing them down. And I like to use Collall 3D glue gel to add underneath any layers that aren't level. It gives a little bit of dimension, and I don't have to worry about cutting small scraps to glue underneath to keep it level. And then to finish this off, I added 3 small glitter enamel dots in each of the colors on the tag next to the sentiments. And this is card number 1. For card number 2, again, I'm using the all occasion stamp set and the leaf dies from the kit. This one has 4 1 1¼ inch squares, that are placed on a 3-inch square, but it's turned to be a diamond. Now the sketch calls for a 4 by 5¼ inch layer, but you don't have to add all the layers if you don't want to. I kind of liked this simplistic look, so I opted not to add it. So I just glued this directly on the card base. I added a little bit of glue gel to the back of the sentiment that I layered on top of a piece of navy cardstock, and I finished this off with a glitter enamel dot. This is card number 2. For card 3, this one calls for 3 banners, and since I have this stitched banner die, I cut the 2 paper A banners with this die as is, but then I extended it slightly for the paper B banner in the middle. And to do this, you just add it to the edge of your cutting plate on your die cutting machine so that the end doesn't cut all the way through, and then you take it out, shift it slightly, and run it back through all the way. This is a great way to extend shorter dies and make them longer. I also like to use the layers to cut out my smaller shapes. Since the pattern paper I'm using is heavyweight and pretty thick, I don't have to worry about the cutouts showing through, but if you want to keep everything level, you can just use scraps to fill in the cutouts. I used a half sheet of barbershop cardstock for the card base, so since it's dark I had to add white to the inside, and I used circle punches to cut out my 3 layers of circles. And for the sentiment, I stamped Happy Father's Day using one of the stamps from the Lawn Fawn Magic Spring Messages stamp set, and I used barbershop ink to stamp that out. And as I'm layering this up, you'll see that I add the glue gel to the ends of that blue strip across the top to keep it level. And then, of course, I finish this off with tan glitter enamel dots. Again, this is card number 3. Now for card 4, I used the striped embossing folder for the smaller white panel shown on the sketch. And the half circle on the bottom of the focal piece is optional from paper D, but I like how it tied all of my colors together, so I decided to use it. I stamped Hello Friend off camera from the all occasion stamp set, and I used barbershop ink, and then I stamped that onto some yellow cardstock, keeping the sentiment more toward the right, and I cut it out with the smaller banner die, and then I glued down all of my layers. Now for the 3 banner flags that will be hanging below the circle, I hand cut those out. The easiest way to do this is to find the center and snip it in the middle with your scissors. Snip it about 1/4 inch, and then cut from each corner up to the top of that snip. So here you see me just adding a little bit of glue to the top of each of those little banner flags to attach it to the back of that circle focal point. And then I added a little bit of that glue gel just to keep things level since there's so many layers on this card. And then to finish off this card, I added a glitter enamel dot. And this is card number 4. And for card sketch 5, it calls for 1-inch strips from 5 of the 6 different pattern papers. So after laying them out, I made sure that the top and bottom of the base was showing equally before gluing down each of the pieces. And then to help separate the 2 end strips, I added some Love from Lizzie peel-off stickers in navy. And I used a scalloped rectangle die for the layer behind the white rectangle piece, where I stamped many several times in the yellow, teal, and navy colors. And I masked off the thanks part of the stamp while stamping the yellow and teal. And I accidentally got a little bit of blue ink between the teal and blue, so to cover that up, I added a scalloped teal sticker on top. I didn't think this card needed much else, so this is card number 5. For card 6, I'll be using one of the word and shadow dies from the Simple Greetings die set. Now this sketch calls for pieces from all 6 of the pattern papers. I used a navy blue layer for the back panel and then a lime green layer. You could always add an embossed panel here for more interest. And then before gluing down the strip across the top, I just laid it there to make sure that I line up all of my banners correctly. And I slightly overlapped the banners so that I would have enough space to the right to place my hello there die cut. I added a little scrap piece to the right of that top strip just to keep everything level. And then I added my die cut that says hello there using some foam tape just to give it a little bit of dimension. And this is card number 6. For card 7, I used the cobblestone embossing folder on the tan square that measures 3 3/4 inches. Now the sketch says to measure and mark at 1 7/8 of an inch on one side. Then you'll take that mark and line it up in the top left corner and shift it to align the top right corner of the square with the edge of the card. Once that's down, you'll line up your strips along the bottom of that angled square. And once you have it glued down, then you'll just need to trim off the excess with your scissors. Now for my sentiment, I used the Simple Greetings word and shadow die that says hello there again, using some foam tape to pop that up. But I used the Pebble cardstock and Barbershop cardstock from the All Occasion kit to cut these out. And then to finish it off, I just added a tan enamel dot. For card 8, this one calls for rectangle pieces in 4 of the 6 pattern papers. This sketch was really designed for use with double-sided pattern paper, but if you're using single-sided paper, check out the tutorial video that Steph with Chaos in the Craft Room made that was part of the KCC 11 giveaway hop that was posted on July 2nd. She shows a really neat tip on how to get the same look without having to add rectangles to the back. All of the videos in this hop give some wonderful tips for creating cards with this challenge, so I hope you'll check it out. But you'll want to measure each of the rectangle pieces at 1 3/16 on the long edge and mark it with a pencil, and then measure at 7/8 of an inch on the short end and make a pencil mark on the back connecting the 2 dots. Then you'll fold these rectangle pieces back along that pencil mark. I like to use a ruler just to keep things straight, but you'll want to score along these fold lines, and to help hold those flaps down, you'll add some liquid glue on the back of the flap. And then for the center part, I stamped "Thanks so much" from the Lawn Fawn Magic Messages stamp set onto a white circle, and I layered it with navy. And then I took a few Copic markers in matching colors and colored the little leaves and flowers in, and I popped this up with some foam tape. And this is card number 8. For card 9, I used the hello there word and shadow die again from the Simple Greetings die set for the focal point in the center of my card. This one is pretty straightforward. You'll add a 4 by 5 1/4 inch layer on top of the card base, then line up the pieces from papers B and D along the edges, leaving about an 1/8 of an inch gap from the edge of the layer. I cut a white rectangle to place in the center. This is a good card sketch to stamp a little scene onto that white rectangle piece. But I just added the hello there to the center, and then I finished it off with a teal glitter enamel dot. For card 10, this one calls for 2 strips of pattern paper that are parallel to each other in the center of the card. And you'll place that on top of a few layers, with each of the pattern paper strips being offset slightly above and below the center rectangle piece. So of course I glued down all of my layers, and I added the high die cut to the center of the white piece, and I added a few navy stitched stars to help fill in some of that white space, and I popped these up with some foam squares. And to help keep everything level, again, I added a little bit of the glue gel behind the layers. And to finish this off, I added 3 glitter enamel dots as shown on the sketch. Again, this is card number 10. For card 11, I used the Spotlight Saying stamp set, and I stamped Best Wishes onto the white square piece using barbershop ink. I have a navy layer, and then I embossed a white 3 3/4 inch by 5 inch layer using the boho embossing folder. I glued down all of my pieces as shown on the sketch. And to keep that bottom square level, I did add a small scrap piece of cardstock on the back, especially since this panel is embossed. And before gluing everything to the card base, I added some double-sided adhesive along the back side of this panel to hold the yellow twine that I used across the top. I added some larger scrap pieces to the back to help keep everything level due to the twine. And then I tied a bow with the twine and attached it using a glue dot. And I glued it onto my card base and added a glitter enamel dot to finish it off. Again, this is card number 11. For card 12, I used the Spotlight Saying stamp set again, but this time I stamped Just For You using the teal Lakeside ink onto the top right corner of the white square as shown on the sketch. Now this is so that I can add a shape to the left side of the square. I want to make sure that I have plenty of room. Now this card doesn't call for any layers, but you can certainly add them if you want. If your paper is really thin, you may need to add some scraps to the back to help keep things level. Since this paper is pretty thick, I'm not going to worry about it. I added the leaf die cut and then 3 tiny teal enamel dots in the bottom right corner of the square to finish it off. Again, this is card number 12. For card 13, I have to apologize. I thought I was recording when I placed down all of my pieces to determine where the sentiment will go. I then stamped congratulations onto the blue layer with clear embossing ink and added white embossing powder, and I melted it with my heat gun. But again, I didn't get any of that recorded, so I apologize. But I glued down all of my squares. But since this is the set of cards I created while designing my sketches, I realized that the piece from paper B needed to be slightly bigger. So I corrected this on the cutting template. But you'll see that I have a gap here on my card between those small squares on the bottom. I'll show you what I did to fill in the gap here in a second, but I glued everything down. I added a teal and white twine bow to the left of the strip across the bottom and a navy star in the top rectangle, and I popped that up with a foam square. But to fill in that gap, I added 3 yellow glitter enamel dots. and this is card number 13. For card 14, again I used the Spotlight Saying stamp set, and off camera I stamped Just For You using Lakeside ink toward the bottom of that top white rectangle. I glued down the strip from paper F first, and then angled the rectangle piece from paper E slightly to the left, and then the top rectangle piece is glued down angled to the right. And instead of using a bow as the sketch shows, I decided to use a stitched star in its place, and then I added another one to fill in the white space to the left of that little banner. And then to finish off the card, I added 3 tiny enamel dots in the top right corner as shown on the sketch. And this is card number 14. Now for the last card, number 15, this one is pretty straightforward. It has 3 rectangle pieces that are stacked onto a layering strip. I used the bottom navy layer to cut out the shadow die cut for my focal point, and I used white cardstock for the word. I ended up swapping 2 of the rectangles so that I would have the plaid pattern in the middle, breaking up the 2 dot patterns. Now this sketch says to use an embossed or stenciled layer, but I added this after I made this card. This one is pretty simple, so you don't have to do this if you like the clean and simple look better. I added foam tape to the back of the Thinking of You die cut to pop this up a little bit, and then I added 3 enamel dots in the top right corner to finish it off. Again, card number 15. And there you have it, 15 cards using Kendra's Card Challenge number 11. I really love how these turned out. Let me know which one is your favorite down in the comments below. If you're interested in purchasing anything that I used today, I'll have all of the supplies linked in the description box below. Some of these are affiliate links, which means if you make a purchase, I earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. This helps to support my work and helps to keep the challenges free each quarter to my channel subscribers. And if you haven't downloaded the Challenge 11 PDF file yet, head on over to my website, tlcdesigns.shop, to get the printable and read more about how to enter and see the list of all of the awesome prizes you can win for entering. There are monthly and quarterly prizes from some amazing companies. Having a set of coordinating cards when you're all done is pretty cool, but it's even better to be able to win some crafty goodies. I hope you'll join us over on Instagram for the KCC11 Instagram hop running from July 5th to July 10th. This hop features projects made by some of the Inspiration team members using the first 5 sketches. You'll have a chance to win another prize if you hop along. Now, if you missed the KCC11 hop here on YouTube that started on July 2nd and runs through July 9th, I hope you'll check it out. Members of the video team show the card making process for all 15 cards. This hop ends on July 9th, so if you're watching within this time frame, you can have a chance to win a huge giveaway prize full of crafty goodies valued at over $100. Even if it's after July 9th, you'll learn some wonderful tips and tricks for creating cards with this challenge by watching their videos, so you definitely don't want to miss it. I'd also like to take a moment to thank all of my channel member patrons shown here, and would like to welcome any new patrons that have just joined my membership program. Your support really means a lot, and it helps to cover the expenses involved in running the quarterly card challenges and shipping out the prizes. If you're not familiar with this, it is a membership program where members can receive exclusive perks and benefits. As an official patron for $5 a month, you get access to previous archived card challenges, plus a printer-friendly version of the PDF printable. Access to download bonus content starts at $10 a month. These bonus printables include digital stamps and images, card tutorials, digital papers, card making kits, and more. All patrons receive a handmade card from me each month, no matter what tier you choose. Plus, something new for this quarter, I have an exclusive Facebook group for all access and VIP patrons where you can find additional resources, support, and more, plus additional giveaway prizes for patrons only. So I hope you'll consider joining my membership program. The July of 2023 bonus printable for all access and VIP patrons includes 30 digital pattern papers, 5 different sets of 6 coordinating papers, plus 42 sentiments in a variety of occasions that fit the Challenge 11 sketches. If you have a color printer, you can print these out and start creating your cards right away. And it takes the guesswork out of finding the perfect size sentiment for each of the card sketches. For more information, visit patreon.com/Kendra's Card Challenges. Remember, Challenge 11 runs through September 30th of 2023, so you have plenty of time to create your cards and get them posted to the Kendra's Card Challenges Facebook group or uploaded to the form on my website to enter. If you think you might give this challenge a try, leave me a comment. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up, and if you're not already a subscriber, I hope you will consider subscribing to my channel. I appreciate you watching this video. I can't wait to see what you create, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.